What is up, guys? Blake here with Boost Portfolio. I hope you're enjoying your day. In this video, I'm going to give you a quick market update with what's going on with Bitcoin. I'm going to tell you how you can get positioned for sick gains. And we're also going to talk a little bit about the S&P 500 just because I think it's relevant. Okay, so as you guys know, I'm not a financial advisor. None of this is financial advice whatsoever. So those of you that follow in Telegram, you guys know I just added a little bit of Ethereum to the model portfolio. And we are also invested in Verge and Neo. Verge has already doubled since our initial entry, and I still think it has a lot of room to grow, especially if Bitcoin decides that it wants to turn around and make another bull rally. Okay, so what's going on with Bitcoin? Well, we're still in a downtrend, okay, so that hasn't changed. However, we are seeing some sort of sideways consolidation. Now, sideways consolidation doesn't mean that we are ending the downtrend and starting a new uptrend. It just means exactly that. We're consolidating, okay? So we're moving sideways. And if you look on many of the exchanges like Bittrex or Bitfinex, the short volume, meaning that people are betting against the price of Bitcoin, meaning it's going to go down, the short volume is the highest that I've ever seen. So that could be potentially the next impetus to make the price of Bitcoin drop even further. Or it could be a potential reversal point because if big whales come in and see that there's a lot of stacked up short selling in the order books and they have the liquidity to go ahead and wipe out those order books and boost the price, that's also a scenario that could happen. So right now, I am not in Bitcoin at all. I would like to see some green Heikin Ashi candles close above the 20-period whole moving average with the true strength indicator, the TSI, cross higher, okay? So those are some of my favorite indicators that I like to look at for technical analysis. All of my analysis and trading philosophy is derived from following trends, and in my experience, combining these indicators is really what gives me my edge, along with having an objective perspective, managing risk, and a whole host of other things. So right now, as you guys know, I'm not invested in Bitcoin. If Bitcoin starts to close below this light blue moving average, then that would be a signal for more downside to follow, and I would probably liquidate most of my alts as well. Now, one of the alts that I really like is Verge, so let's go ahead and take a look at Verge and what it's been doing for us lately. Let's Verge against Ethereum, sorry. Verge against Bitcoin. Okay, so Verge against Bitcoin. We had our initial entry back at around 500 Satoshis. Okay, so we're already above 1,200 and looking like we want to go to 1,300. So we're still holding Verge. They have an announcement on the 17th, I believe. Who knows what that announcement will hold? They typically, I guess in my opinion, have underperformed or overpromised with their announcements. But this is a technical setup that I like, and if Bitcoin decides to pump, I think that Verge will be a very big beneficiary of that pump. Not predicting anything, but we're still invested in Verge, and our downside risk, we won't take a loss on Verge. Okay, so if you're following in Telegram, we will go ahead and I have a trailing stop, and if that trailing stop gets hit, you guys will know, and I will exit my position. But as of now, we're holding Verge because there's no reason for us to get out of Verge. So holding on to those gains. Take a look at Neo. We're also invested in Neo. So Neo to Bitcoin. One of the things that I like about this is we had a lot of volume come in here, and we also had the TSI cross up. If we can get above the, let's call it, 8,200 Satoshis, then I would go ahead and likely take more of a position in Neo. And finally, let's look at Ethereum. So Ethereum, finally, we're invested. Okay, so Ethereum is a good buy the dip candidate, all right? So this is a potential buy the dip opportunity. This is not a trend trade. This is a good risk reward trade, in my opinion. So if we scroll out, we'll take off the log scale. So if we scroll out, you guys can see this horizontal line is right around $408, $410, we'll call it. Okay, I had an order that got filled today at 410. Okay, so I bought 2 Ethereum at 410. Once again, dipping my toes in the water. This is not a full position. This is me testing the waters. We're still at around 86, 87% cash in the crypto portfolio. So if Ethereum starts to show some price strength above, let's call it 440, I might go ahead and add a little bit more. And if we can get it above the 530 level, that would be a green light add for me, which would potentially put the 600 level and 690 levels in play for Ethereum. So Ethereum has been oversold. We're bouncing off of those oversold levels, and we're closing above this 20-whole moving average. So things are looking a bit better for Ethereum. Now, I do prefer Ethereum over Bitcoin. So if we go to Ethereum to Bitcoin, there it is. You guys can see we've been in a major downtrend relative to Bitcoin. Well, Bitcoin's been in the downtrend as well, but Ether has been falling even harder than Bitcoin. So we're seeing this rounding bottom. Let's go ahead and put the log scale back on. Okay. So we're seeing this rounding bottom here with a TSI crossover. So that's a very positive sign. And we have consecutive green Hikanashi candles closing above the 20-whole moving average. So all very positive signs. Those all meet my rules to trade. I will be sharing my rules to trade with you guys later on down the road. I'm working on a complete educational series that I think would be very valuable and very helpful for you. That's one of the reasons why I asked this morning, if you're in Telegram, one of the reasons why I ran a poll asking what is your experience level with investing. That way I can kind of tailor the educational series to the majority of the followers that follow me in Telegram. By the way, if you guys aren't in Telegram, we're doing a phenomenal job. We're up about $4,000 since February. Okay, so that's a very nice return since we've been in a bear market. I give alerts, access to a model portfolio, and I also throw in some stocks and access to my Roth IRA. So if you guys aren't in there, I'm going to put the link below. Make sure you go ahead and get in Telegram. So that's Ethereum. I took a small position today. And while we're at it, guys, I think it's relevant that we talk about the S&P 500. Now, the reason that I want to talk about the S&P 500 is because it has to do with investing. And people that invest in stocks more than likely also invest in crypto if they are savvy investors. I happen to invest in both. So one of the things that I like to watch is the correlation between the S&P 500 and crypto markets, specifically Bitcoin, because it's kind of the dominant force in crypto right now. And what am I seeing in the S&P 500? Well, if we scroll out, we take off the log scale on the S&P 500, you guys can see that we are holding this major macro uptrend line. So this uptrend line dates back to basically the start of 2016, so over 2 years of trading action. So this has been the trend that we've been on. Go ahead and get rid of some of these indicators so you guys can see. This has been the trend and the trajectory of price over the past 2 years. Okay, you see we've tested it 1, 2, 3, 4, and this big cluster that we're testing now. Okay, so that's a very important trend line, which in my opinion, we really need to hold if we want to continue this bullish trend that we've been on for the past 7, 8 years. So one of the reasons that I added some more exposure to equities today in my Roth IRA is because we are bouncing off of this trend line. We're above the 20-period whole moving average, and we have a couple green Hikanashi candles closing above that. And it looks like we have an imminent TSI crossover. Okay, so all very bullish signs. If that does happen, if we can get above some of these 272 and 280 on the SPY S&P 500, I'll probably likely go ahead and take a 100% equity position in my Roth IRA. Now, those of you that aren't familiar with the Roth IRA or my strategy with that, make sure you go ahead to investopedia.com and make sure you look to see what exactly a Roth IRA is. Okay, so that is the S&P 500, kind of what's happening with the S&P 500 with price. Now, another interesting fact that I think you should be aware of is since people are invested in both equities and crypto, they're going to be feeling pain and fear if the stock market starts to drop and the stock market starts to crash. Well, that pain and fear is going to more than likely roll over into crypto if they are also invested in crypto, because they're going to be feeling the pain from those losses. And if we go into a full bear market, which by no means are we anywhere close to it on the S&P 500, but if we happen to go into a bear market, that would put a lot of financial pressure on people, and people that took out loans and put crypto on credit cards and maxed out their budget for crypto, that's going to have a huge effect and will likely have a cascading effect into crypto. So keep an eye on that. That is something that we need to watch. For now, this could be a great buying opportunity, which is one of the reasons why I added more exposure in equities this morning in the Roth IRA. By the way, I use the M1 app in the App Store. I love M1 because it's completely free, so there's no fees for trade fees like TD Ameritrade or Interactive Brokers. They're going to charge you a fee. It's great for long-term investing. It sucks for trading because you're not going to get the fills that you want. But for long-term investing, it's completely fine. Completely free, no fees. And the best thing about it is that you can actually purchase fractional shares. So fractional shares, what I mean by that is Amazon, for example. Let's take a look at Amazon. Okay, Amazon right now is trading at, $1,400. All right, well, a lot of people don't have $1,400 that they can just go ahead and buy one share of Amazon. So since they don't have that money, or if they don't have that money, then they can buy a fraction of Amazon. They can say, okay, well, I can't buy a full share of Amazon, but I can buy 1/10 of a share of Amazon. So they can have $143 and be invested in Amazon. And that's a great thing because some of the great companies like Google's over $1,000, Amazon's over $1,000. Some of these companies are getting expensive in price. And for new investors, it's hard to get invested in some of these great companies, which is why I think it's key to offer fractional share investing. And that is one of the things that M1 has to offer. So that's what I use. If you guys are on Telegram, I sent you a link. Go ahead and check it out. Let's wrap it up with Bitcoin, guys. We are not out of the woods yet, okay? We are in a bottoming pattern. Keep in mind that we have a lot of sell pressure from all the shorts on the exchanges, and it seems like we're just kind of hanging out here, okay? This is a tug-of-war battle, okay? We've been trading in this tight range for really the past 12 days, okay? So that's not a typical, range. It's not a typical price pattern of Bitcoin. Bitcoin likes to go up or down, okay? It doesn't like to go sideways. And you can see the last time we did this was back here. We had this kind of sideways consolidation, and we finally broke to the downside. Okay, sideways consolidation. Are we going to break to the downside, or are we going to rally from here? One of the things that we need to keep a close eye on is the volume. So keep a close eye on volume. If we see rallying candles, like big green candles, and lots of volume come in, that's a very positive sign. Now, on the flip side, we see big red candles and lots of volume come in. That's a very negative sign. Now, I don't know if it's just me, but I kind of feel like Bitcoin kind of needs just one more panic flush, drop it down to a lower price and just get a bunch of fear and a bunch of panic selling into the markets. We really haven't had that yet. We had a little bit back here in, the middle of February. But you can see the volume is kind of, dry. Not a whole lot of volume. Not a whole lot of panic selling. I don't hope for this. Obviously, I want the price of Bitcoin to go higher. But I do have a plan for if it does go lower. Just got to be prepared for everything, guys. In my opinion, if we don't hold this whole moving average, this 20 whole moving average, which right now is around $6,600, if we start to lose that, I think it likely puts this 5,800, 6,000 level in play. And if we lose that, that's not a good sign, okay? Just have a plan. Make sure you guys are positioned for anything. You don't have to be right to make money. You just have to have a plan. You don't have to know which direction the price is going to go. All you have to do is be able to capitalize on the trend. Right now, the trend is down. I'm keeping a very close eye on Bitcoin for a trend change. And I will let you guys know if that happens. So hope you enjoyed this video. Sorry if it went a little long. Make sure you guys get in Telegram. That's where you get the most value. That's where I give you all the alerts. Also, make sure you like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. And while you're at it, go ahead and hit that notification button. Why not, right? Get notified when I put out new content. Hope you guys have a great day. I'll see you again tomorrow.